I'm Elizabeth Press, founder of D3M Labs, and I am here today with Murat, a data scientist and political psychologist, who did a really interesting study about the future of AI development and deployment. Murat, just tell us a bit about yourself and the study and what got you interested in doing this study.
Hi, thank you for having me, Elizabeth. Yeah, like you say, I'm a data scientist and a political psychologist. I have my background in academia. My specialization is measurement model development, psycholinguistics, psychometrics, and this study utilizes the Stack Overflow annual developer survey from last year, and I've been always interested in the technical as well as the psychological profiles of people working in the tech sector. So that's my main motivation.
I think that it's a wonderful study because I talk to developers and business owners a lot, and there is this huge apprehension, but also excitement around AI and what it's going to bring and how much it's actually going to bring. So could you tell us a bit about the methodology and how you did the study?
So this year, this developer survey has quite a few items on AI usage and attitudes towards AI. So I utilize a particular technique called Bayesian learning networks, or also known as DUGs, frequently used in medical sciences as well as in psychology. So it's a parameterized version. You basically get a causal skeleton of the structural relationships outlined. So you see all the causes and effects, so all the predictors as well as the outcomes in the data. That's what the technique does. Yeah.
And what surprised you?
Clearly stands out is that older and more educated developers have a much more cautious attitude towards AI. That's what we learn, what we see from the data. Also, so there's this particular item on AI with open-ended responses. So people type their responses. There you see four topics. People mention using AI for coding, improving their overall Stack Overflow experience, and using AI for better posts, titles, text, and that sort of stuff. I guess the overall results suggest that developers understand that AI is no silver bullet to a solution to everything. It's very context specific and use case specific. And for example, if you look at the descriptive statistics, the biggest expectation from many of the developers develop the biggest impact of AI on coding practices. But when you look at the model itself, the inferential model, that doesn't have a effect on the overall outcome. So compared to last year, AWS, the cloud provider, sort of is becoming less popular. Last year, it was like a Google Cloud Services having the second place, and Azure was third. Now this year, it looks like they switched positions. And yeah, so yeah, these are the main takeaways, I guess.
Yeah, and it's not a surprise that more senior developers are more skeptical because AI is going to change the world until you take into account perhaps practicalities like data quality, the amount of compute power that is necessary for generative AI, and that there is manual labor also involved that people might not see. And also, things like security and privacy. There actually have been highly publicized information leakages at certain companies, and some corporations have now banned using ChatGPT. Another thing that you and I have talked about is the fact that there are so many languages and technologies in your descriptives. The AI landscape, the skill landscape is highly fractious. And I could imagine that both the developers and the companies don't know what skill set they might need for a specific task. You need to have a very senior and very experienced person who knows about focused data strategies to really focus on the necessary skills. And you and I have also talked about the fact that Bitkom, for example, has publicized 149,000 IT jobs in Germany, and there is lacking skill sets in Germany, and that this is a problem. But I also wonder if this is a problem that is caused by confusion and maybe poor job specification.
Yeah, like I'm 100% with you that there is this gap between the expectations and the practices and what the reality is out there. So I guess there is there's evidence in the data as well showing the variation in the skill sets and the different kinds of languages and technologies and frameworks and libraries that is used. It is like huge. This variation is huge, and I'm sure there are country-specific differences, like when you look at the within and between country clusters. We're going to find some variations there as well, differences there as well. But I can also say that if you look at the specific subgroups, the clusters, the technical profiles of these developers in this data, there are dozens and dozens of them. So that is a bit challenging to account for. And how that translates into like the company expectations, the market expectations, and what sort of technologies the companies need, use, what they demand from these tech workers, developers. There is, I think there are unrealistic expectations and there are sort of gaps, definitely. 100%. Yeah.
So there's so many languages that are coming onto the market, and every year there's new ones coming up. And I start to wonder if there is an unrealistic expectation that developers keep on top of all of these languages. And I also start questioning how many of these languages and frameworks are actually needed by the companies. And therefore, building on this, I do wonder if there is a gap in terms of training needed to keep up with these technologies, to train juniors, to train people entering the technology field in itself. And if generative AI is actually being used to fill the skill gap that companies won't fill, that also is hard to fill because of all the new languages coming up.
Yeah. Okay. So obviously this, like you say, like you suggest, this has got a lot to do with the company's overall data strategy, what the company needs, what the use cases are, right? But when it comes to the assistance of generative AI and its help in coding practices, I mean, if you look at the results and with the data, like in every specific domain, in every specific technology domain, like the web development, languages and libraries and frameworks, all that stuff, you see the sort of usual suspects, the most popular ones. And I think individuals, these employees, these developers can only master a small amount of these, languages and technologies. So it would be, I think, unrealistic to expect individuals to become masters of vast amounts of technology. So I think that is unrealistic. I think it's given. We have clear evidence that AI assisted coding increases productivity, but not to the extent that AI makes one person army of a whole data team or something like that. So speaking from my own experience, I am proficient in 3 different languages, and AI is very helpful in terms of making me more productive. But I can't imagine, developers or individuals mastering languages that they're not super familiar with just because they can get this AI assistance, right? I think that's unrealistic. So, yeah.
What I wonder is, though, if AI will actually be a savior to a lot of data teams. If you look at standardized tasks, so most data teams, or if not almost every data team, uses SQL. And I do believe that generative AI could be very helpful for data governance, for standardization, and scaling a lot of these sorts of tasks, or a lot of the junior analyst tasks that really are focused on languages such as SQL or Python.
I mean, again, yes, yes, no, maybe, because, like, for example, if you look at the training data in all these generative AI and how they're used in coding practices, SQL and Python and some other languages are like they have considerable coverage in the training data, so they're pretty good at generating these codes relatively accurately, right? But still, you need someone experienced who know exactly what they're doing when it comes to translating all this sort of increased efficiency into production and automation. So many things can go wrong, right? So I always remember this quote from the ex-Googler, like, automation is desperation. I don't want to take the quote out of context, but at the end of the day, what we're doing is, like, we're working with predictive models, and we have the input, the algorithm, and the output. And just because the code is easily available there, and we have somebody on top of it, like, it can't be automatically deployed. We can have blind trust in using AI in this development or production environment, right? So yeah, I think one person army, supercharged up with the AI for a whole data team comes with a lot of risks, right? I mean, we're going to have this deeper discussion in the panel. The importance of checking the edge cases, the bias in the data, so like the fairness in all these models and all that stuff. So there's a lot room to discuss there.
What habits that you have brought you success?
Success is something very, very subjective in my opinion, but I don't know if you count that as success. But if we're talking about sort of having a peace of mind and being happy with what you're doing, being a domain expert, I think, is very, very helpful. So being able to offer that domain expertise, that niche, to somebody, to some entity that demands it, I think that's very useful, helpful. And also like having this flexible mindset, switching between different modeling mindsets. Like I come from the background of statistics, and I switched from explanatory models to predictive models. So having that mindset flexibility is also helpful, and being open-minded and curious for anything, for learning new stuff, is also helpful.
Great, thank you, and thank you everyone for tuning in and listening.
Thank you.